Gratitude, a path to healing. I believe gratitude can change everything. Would you agree? The more grateful I am, the more blessings I receive. To the extent I am ungrateful, things become more entangled. For instance, when I'm in line at a grocery store, the cashier checking my groceries can sometimes be grumpy and tired. But when I approach them with grateful energy, their attitude changes. I might share friendly words or just a simple smile. This creates a ripple effect. In ways like this, I experience immediate evidence about how gratitude can influence the dynamics of our everyday life. At the temple in North Carolina where I live and work, the more I express gratitude to my fellow reverend, the more positive energy grows in the temple. When I express gratitude to ground workers who dig and lift heavy stones for our garden path, smiles break out on their faces. Have you experienced something similar? Gratitude is a simple and direct recipe for harmonizing our relationships with the world. Gratitude practice is essential dharma in Buddhism. It is one of the unique features that distinguishes from traditional Buddhism. Instead of emphasizing the alleviation of suffering by following the path of the Four Noble Truths, we emphasize the recognition of grace in all situations. How do we do this? One approach is understanding that all things are the mind's creation. Our minds can create grace or harm, gratitude or complaint. In your life, do you tend to focus more on grace from harm or harm from grace? In Buddhism, we aspire to direct our minds to what we are grateful for and what we can offer in return. When our founding teacher Sotaesan attained enlightenment, he felt a profound sense of gratitude for all the support and grace that had sustained him. He distilled this awareness as the fourfold grace. Grace of heaven and earth. Grace of parents. Grace of fellow beings. Grace of laws. Grace of heaven and earth. The sun, moon, stars, and all the wondrous gifts of nature and the universe. Grace of parents and ancestors. All those who have given us life, raised us, and nurtured our being. Grace of fellow beings. Touch what you are wearing now. Reflect on so many things used in your daily life. And we may wonder how many fellow beings contribute their energy to provide the necessities and resources to sustain us. Inconceivable. Grace of laws. Are you grateful for the laws of justice that safeguard us and uphold our shared humanity. The teaching of the Fourfold Grace encompasses countless indispensable blessings and reminds us of the many things in life we often take for granted. Of these Fourfold Grace today, I'd like to share my personal journey of gratitude with regard to the grace of parents. During my childhood, my mother was not well, often used alcohol to cope with her mental and emotional instability. There was frequent violence and turmoil in my home. I often composed poems about my mom as my own way to cope. Here is one of the poems I wrote as a teenager, translated from Korean. It is rather intense. I wish I could fly far to a star, or to the moon, or to the highest mountain, or even just to a dream. One night, dreaming, Mother cracked my head with an axe. I'd rather have that dream than watch her cry out, vomiting through the smell of rice liquor. As a girl's ventilating window, a scribbled notebook whispers, "No more violence. Peaceful home, please. Just today, just tonight. Somebody come, help us. Somebody come and help my mom." Revisiting this poem also reminds me how often I felt afraid of being at home. Because of my turbulent home environment, school became a safe haven for me. Each day I wished I could stay at school all evening and through the night. Because of the ongoing heavy stress at home, I even once tried to leave this world. Here is a poem I wrote that. Survivor. In my little hometown village, we often heard about a farmer who took his own life by drinking a bottle of insecticide because of tough times. An 8-year-old child hears from a classmate, "Why does it look like you are carrying the weight of the whole world?" In the dark corner of a storage room, full of fear with hesitant steps, the little girl approaches a sack of insecticide powder. The slightly opened mouth of the sack allures her. "You can do it. Don't fear." Her hand reaches inside and grasps the soft powder, piercing her nose with a deadly smell. "Can I do this? Can I?" "No, I can't. What a weak soul." She steps away, tears of relief washing her face. A new voice. "I will live. I want to live." Back at school, I often kept myself sitting on a swing and worrying about things at home. One day on the school playground, my 5th grade classmate, Sun-suk, was swinging nearby. She was a very shy girl, slim and tall with big dark eyes. She and I had never really spoken before, but on that day, she pulled together enough courage to say to me, "Would you like to visit the one Buddhist temple?" I simply nodded, yes. Later, I would learn that she lived right next to the temple and regularly attended the children's Dharma services. Her mother was a lifelong practitioner of Won Buddhism. Soon after our brief conversation, I found myself walking toward the temple right after school. Walking in the temple grounds for the very first time, I was surrounded by magnificent trees that radiated beauty and serene energy. I was only 11 and felt nervous, but a friendly 교무님 soon welcomed me. She had exactly the same hairstyle like I had. After that, I began participating in the children's services. One day, the 교무님 spoke about the grace of parents, a topic that took me by surprise and changed the course of my life. She explained that we should be grateful to our parents, who are the very source of our existence. Reflecting on this, I realized I had long focused on resentment, especially toward my mother, without considering the hardships she faced raising 10 children, only 7 of whom survived. Gradually, I came to understand that through her difficult life and hard work in the farmland, she turned to rice liquor, the common comfort for many farmers then, to ease her thirst and fatigue. Even knowing about her struggles, it took me many, many years to truly appreciate the grace of parents. In my college seminary days, visits to my mother often left me sleepless, haunted by worry and anxiety. Yet, my Dharma practice in Won Buddhism is getting deepened, and that helped me slowly cultivate compassion for her, coming to understand the unhealed wounds and burdens she carried from her own upbringing. I used to question, why did my parents bring me and my siblings into this world, raising us under such dire circumstances? When I consulted with my spiritual mentors, they told me that my mom came into this world in the form of a bodhisattva to lead me to this spiritual path. This was the constant reassuring message I received from every senior teacher. Well, it is true that if my mom was not the person she was, I would probably not have chosen this 교무님's path. The more I have grown to appreciate my life as a 교무님, I have become more grateful for my parents who brought me into this world. With the support of spiritual guides, my awareness of grace have awakened my capacity to understand, forgive, and heal. My mom was meant to be my mom in this lifetime. Even though she passed away years ago, I fully accept her and appreciate her impact on my life. Anyone seen total chart? Over there, beautiful. One of the legs of our doctrinal total chart in Won Buddhism is the awareness of grace and requital of grace. The principal book of Won Buddhism describes this as deeply feeling and knowing the contents of the graces we have received from heaven and earth, parents, fellow beings, and laws. We model ourselves wholeheartedly on the way of indebtedness. Even if there is a situation in which we feel resentful, we can respond gratefully by recognizing the source from which all grace thrives. Deeply feeling and truly knowing the grace we have received. This line from our scripture book always resonates with me. It expresses a dharma that is accessible to all of us. When we awaken to the totality of grace, we open a doorway to healing, both within ourselves and in our relationships with others. Gratitude turns what we already have into more than enough. This is not just a theory. This is a powerful truth. During the gratitude retreat this week, I have witnessed the door of healing opening to many. How inspiring. But gratitude practice as a healing path takes more than a week. It is a lifetime journey. Little by little, through daily practice, we uncover this treasure, the power of gratitude. At times, our practice is like excavation, gently uncovering the beneficence surrounding us. In our life journeys, as vulnerable beings, we all experience wounds and scars in our minds, hearts, and bodies. It is our choice whether we perceive the container of a life as half empty or half full. When life feels dark and it's hard to find grace in relationships with our parents or anyone else, we can seek the support of trusted guides, staying close to our Dharma community. As we heal our wounds, we become a healing presence for others. Without grace of parents, I would not be here with you today. And you would not be here with me. May our healing journeys continue and bring joy and grace to all sentient beings.